Alright guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about these ammos I got here today. Ammos? This ammo I've got here today. This is buffalo bore. This is some badass stuff right here. Now these, and this is all just my self-defense ammo, just a little allotment of it. I'll do videos of the others, but this buffalo bore is plus P+, and this stuff flowers beautifully if you shoot it into ballistics gel. This is a really good self-defense round. I also use it as a hiking round. But then we also have, this is centerfire special duty self-defense ammunition. These are flangeable. They break apart. They ran a drill bit down into that right there, and when it goes in the body, these actually shatter down to the depth of that hole, and then the remainder of the bullet continues to go. Now this stuff right here, the Winchester Defender 9mm plus P, this stuff is what the terrorist organization FBI is using in these days. This is a really good round. Very reliable, always goes bang, same as the others. And then you got the Hordity. I like to call him Hootenanny. This is also plus P. But let me get to my favorite round. This is called Fort Scott TUI. Tumbles upon impact. Now these are a solid copper round, okay? And like I said, it tumbles when it goes in, creating cavitations in the womb channel, and it's quite devastating. But the cool thing about these is, if you go ahead and you watch some of the videos from it, they penetrate soft body armor. Like they rip right through it, which is really cool. And I don't see a velocity on the case, which is really bothersome. I hate it when they don't list the velocity. And the Hootenanny, this is one of my favorite rounds. It's just, and the Hootenanny is also an affordable price for 25 rounds. And this shit is crazy expensive. Basically $2 a bullet. And needless to say, I mean, I've got like 6 boxes of it, but needless to say, I didn't buy too much of that. And this stuff, the buffalo bore, another pain. But if you look at it, 1,400 feet per second, and muzzle energy of 500 foot-pounds, and a 9mm. See, I have some other buffalo bore. It's case hardened, and it's truncated. Truncated means it has a flat tip. And here, hold on a second. Truncated means that it has a flat nose. So your typical Full Metal Jacket that has the round nose, when it hits flesh, like if you're using a bullet for bear defense, you don't want a hollow point because you want to achieve penetration, okay? But the truncated goes straight, like it's a straight. Once it hits the target, it continues to travel straight. Now your typical FMJ, what they'll do is they'll curve and they'll go on some weird trajectory. But buffalo bore is, I can't swear by it enough. That's an excellent hiking round if you're an outdoorsman like myself. And so is the Fort Scott TUI. Excellent outdoors round. I like to alternate every other round between either buffalo bore truncated, case hardened ammunition, and a hollow point. That way I'm creating tissue damage, like massive tissue damage, along with massive penetration. And I've also got here some parts that I'm going to show you guys that I think that everyone should have these parts. So let me go ahead and pause this, flip the camera around, and then we'll get to talking about the parts. And I know, guys, I'm still trying to figure this shit out, how to make decent videos, especially with a cell phone with no one holding it. So I apologize up front for the poor video quality. I will try to do better in the future. I'm going to try to get a stand for my cell phone, but here, let me flip the phone around. Now, some parts that I think every Glock owner should have. You should have multiple firing pins, just in case, because sometimes the tips do snap off. And if you need to know what the part number is, it is GLS P0049. So, and your manufacturer number is SP00049. Okay, so that's the number you need to remember right there. If you're trying to order for a Glock 19, a Glock 17, any 9mm Glock uses this firing pin except for the 43. And then you have your connector, and also this connector goes to every Glock, every 9mm, every 40 Smith & Wesson, even the 45 is this connector right here. And it's just your standard 5-pound connector, and there is your manufacturer number for it, SP00343, okay? And then, let's see, where is it? It's here somewhere. Just a aftermarket safety plunger there. Oh, and if you need a replacement safety plunger, now that number is SP00077, okay? And that's about your average price you'll pay on the interweb. Where are you at? It's making me so upset. Oh, I found it. I didn't pull it out. Now, this is a factory extractor. This is a Glock extractor. And its part number is SP01895, okay? And this is for your 9mm. And it's the LCI, so it has a loaded chamber indicator on it, just like all Gen 3 Glocks do. And I always think you should have extra trigger housings. This actually went to a PF45 build that I did, but extra parts. And then I think you should have just the whole trigger assembly just chilling, along with extra OEM trigger bars sitting around, because after 30,000 rounds, shit does wear out. You never know. Extra parts are always good. And where is it? These Ghost spring kits, these are excellent. There is a 6-pound trigger spring in there, and a 4-pound, which is reduced 6-pound trigger spring, and your safety plunger, it's a reduced power safety plunger spring. This stuff is amazing. I like both of them, but I tend to use the 6-pound trigger spring because I would prefer a harder primer strike than lighter. And then what else do I got here? This little guy right here. This isn't a half bad mag release. I don't put that little extension on there. I'm a left-handed shooter. So when I grip, if I have an extended mag release, like there is where the magazine release would go. When I grip, you see where my hand hits. If it's extended, I actually release the magazine. So I have to have just a factory little nubby magazine release. And this is just an extra frame that I have laying around just in case one day I might need it. Now, this is one of the first ones I ever did. You can tell by the low quality of the pinholes, which I need to go back through and make them look pretty. The same with the rest of it. But, yeah, guys, and if you're like me and you shoot reloads through your Glocks, you can't have a factory Glock barrel. You need one with lands and grooves, not the polygonal rifling. Actually, I have a couple extra barrels, and of course you need to have some 26 recoil springs laying around. And if you do any of your own work on Glocks, if you don't have an armorer's backplate, you can make one simply by taking a Dremel or a file and grinding off that little area right there. And then you've got an armorer's backplate. That way you can see what's going on inside of the build. Anyways, guys, I'm going to cut it off here because since I'm such a low subscriber count, it's yeah. Like, oh, hey, stand by. I'll show y'all something since, yeah. Let's figure out, show off some of the old P80s. This is the second one I ever built. You can tell because just Hooper's gun work. So I actually need to give this thing a wipe down with a Teflon cloth. Steel guide rod, which I don't care for. Now this one right here, this is my absolute favorite. Paint job looks slick on it, doesn't it? And then, last but not least, you can see that extended slide release on it. See it? And when I grip it, there I am, depressing. I can feel it depressed right now. I'll give you a little trigger pull for the end. You know, we'll do the 19. Give me a trigger pull here for the end. That was so sloppy. Nice and crisp. Stops right there. Ooh, crisp. Very crisp break. Alright, guys. Stay strapped. Stay dangerous. And above all, stay free.